Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. My ticket is irrelevant here because I have 3.5 on Cincinnati in this thing. It seemed blatantly obvious to me the Browns were going to sit all of their players. Why in the hell would they play? They got a 38-year-old quarterback. You're going to put him out there for unnecessary snaps? Like, hell no, you're not. And you got Amari Cooper, who's already missing games with a heel, and Elijah Moore with the concussion. Like, it just made all the sense in the world. The Browns were not going to play anybody. So, again, I have an awesome ticket. CLV is always, I can just take it to the window, right, guys? No chance that it's not going to.
Yeah, it worked out great with the Panthers last week.
Yeah, it works out amazing. So love my minus 3.5 that I have in the account right now. I'm sure that's going to work out great for me. Steven, I'll start with you here. It's all the way out to 7. So it just came through that they are expecting, which I think is ridiculous, Jamar Chase to play in this game. Okay. I mean, trot your franchise wide receiver out there with an injured shoulder in a game that means nothing. Okay, I guess. So I guess he's going to play too, which only helps my position, but it's a head scratcher. What do you see here? Bengals all the way out at a touchdown.
So as we record right now, Friday afternoon, the books are smart. They're not putting out player props on some of these star players on teams that are in meaningless situations. But if by some chance you find one somewhere, just bet the under, because there's a decent chance they're not going to play the whole game. It's just not worth the injury risk and having a critical injury that could hurt them starting fresh next year. So just keep that in mind. But I'm skeptical any of the books are going to put out props on some of these ambiguous situations. Mo is betting Cleveland +7 this week. Again, you can go listen to Beat the Closing Number if you want to hear the reasons why. I don't have the energy or the confidence or the stamina to try and handicap what the hell a Jeff Driscoll is for this game.
Who's been with the team all of 2 weeks.
Yeah. So what, like, you expect me to come on this podcast? I'm sorry. Like, we've had some comments in recent weeks about people saying, well, why didn't you make a bet in that game? Because there's nothing good to bet. That's why. Like that.
And as we're Steven, I just interrupt. Like, as we're sitting here, 2 books flashed to 7.5. So like there is more Cincinnati money coming in. I'm assuming off of this Chase news that
so Chase, like, people are like, well, why aren't people are probably going to ask, well, why don't you want to bet Browns +7.5? Because it might need to be like 16.5 with Driscoll in the backups. I have no earthly idea what this number should be, and anybody that says they have confidence in it, I think, is just pulling your leg. Mo's not saying he has confidence in it. He's just playing a number, frankly. And the fact that the Bengals have the worst defense in the NFL this year, that much we know. But he's not uber confident, and he's playing a number. And anybody says they have a strong opinion on the handicap of the spread in this game with Jeff Driscoll and a bunch of Browns backups against the worst defense in the league, I think it's crazy. So nothing for me here, and that's why.
Adam, here's the problem with, I think, like, if you want to try to make the rationale of 7.5, and you want to say, well, it's just too many points. We saw what this Browns offense looked like when it was bad, and it was horrific. And like, it was so bad that they would rather start a guy that's been on the team for 2 weeks than go back to PJ Walker and start him in this game. And so now it's going to be Driscoll out there with backups trying to move an offense that didn't work when starters were out there with a bad quarterback. So again, I think that there is a range of outcomes where Steven's thing is like where there is a Bengals double-digit win here, strictly because the Browns, again, locked into where they're at, not going to take any risk whatsoever. And we've already seen the bad version of the Browns earlier this year.
This is one of those games where if you feel a need to have some action, then wait until the props come up. There are going to be props on this game. You're just going to have to wait a while to get them. Go check the beat reporters, see what they're talking about. Maybe this is the Pierre Strong game, right? Like, maybe this is one of those where you look and you say, oh, the third string running back is going to start. That means he's probably going to get 12 to 15 carries at some point during this game. And then maybe you're looking at numbers like that. So that's where this gets a little preseason-ish, where you have to go find the information about who's actually going to be a part of this. So I definitely would not get involved with side or total.
Yeah, it's gonna be a wacky one. Listen, if I didn't have 3.5, then I would be avoiding the game too.
Matt, one quick question about Myles Garrett and Defensive Player of the Year. He's not going to play this week, so his case is closed. Whatever his resume is, it is what it is at this point. And he's several sacks behind T.J. Watt. He's basically tied with Micah Parsons. Like, do you think it's a wrap and it's his, or do you think somebody that's playing this weekend can beat him?
Yeah, I think that we are prisoners of the moment. And we see how these things move so incredibly rapidly. And if Parsons or Watt, either one of them has a big game. Remember, Watt's game is an island game. Like, it is going to be everyone in the world watching the game, you know? And so Watt has a huge game. I do not think it's over by any stretch. What about you, Adam?
Micah Parsons is going against one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the entire world, right? Sam Howell's going to be out there. Yeah, Sam Howell's going to be out there as a sitting duck for a Dallas team that at least for a half is going to have something to play for, and Micah Parsons could get 2 or 3 sacks himself.
Yeah, I agree. So I do not think that one is case closed by any stretch of the imagination.